Hey guys, Boy here, and today we'll figure out if there's much difference between Dendi's Viper and an Ancient player. To be fair, I know a lot of people want me to compare Divine and Immortal players with the top tier players in the world, and for that, I need you to join our Discord channel and follow me on Twitter, or else it's very unlikely that I will find enough replays for a video like this. We got super lucky because in this game we have two mid heroes facing the same matchup, and since it's obvious what the mid matchup is, we can already find a small but relevant play. Viper is one of the slowest level 1 heroes in the game, which means that if you have a ward, it's very likely that there's going to be an enemy in one middle before you reach that spot, and thus, warding at the start is not advisable unless you use trees to plant them from the fog. The Ancient 1 Viper doesn't do that, and Radiant not only spots it, but they take his ward down, reducing his effectiveness in the game. Dendi, on the other hand, waits for the lane to push, and then he wards, making it very hard for the enemy to actually know where it is. In terms of objectiveness, there is no doubt that Dendi is miles ahead of the Ancient player. He clicks the Tinker as soon as he lays eyes on him, and both players actually get suboptimal blocks, so that's even better to judge how they play around it. Note that Dendi only learns Toxin once laser gets used, since poison attack or the passive could have been decent ideas if Tinker starts with March. We can also see a difference in understanding on how Viper's skills work. While Dendi tries to get CS with his right click, the Ancient Viper commits Toxin as a means to get the last hit, not knowing that the skill only deals damage to units 1 second after the unit is affected by the debuff, making this attempt futile. While the Ancient player focuses the range creep, which is the right idea, look how much HP he has after the first wave. He will obviously lose HP since his block was not great, but he took all damage and missed CS on top of that. Dendi, on the other hand, makes sure that his Toxin zones the Tinker away. This entire area allows Tinker to attack Viper without drawing aggro, whereas this one will draw it. While the first wave from both players seems awfully similar, the Ancient player goes up to secure the range creep way too early, nullifying the zoning capabilities that Toxin offers. He also takes even more damage since Tinker has more base damage, more armor since he is close to the tower, making this trade in general terrible for him, and he only gets 1 CS. Dendi only goes up as the range creep is about to die, meaning he takes way less harass, not being forced to commit his tangle that early. While you might feel that the magic resistance is good versus Tinker, and it is, being able to harass the robot without drawing aggro, especially when you have the level advantage, is amazing. The Ancient player chooses corrosive skin, and while you might say that the Tinker lost a decent amount of HP here, the amount of mana Viper commits is insane, and his CS is still subpar. Tinker is 6-0 and Viper is only 2-1. Let's check Dendi's second wave. Aggro is a very subtle mechanic. Note that when Dendi attacks the Tinker here, only one creep draws aggro. Aggro has a 3-second cooldown, meaning that once Dendi clicks the Tinker here, only the units around the area where he clicked, not where he attacks, will aggro to the Viper. And Dendi knows this is a great time to use this mechanic because Tinker wants to set up for the range creep, so he's not going to back down. While Dendi takes 10 damage from 1 melee creep attack, the Tinker takes 40, and that might seem small, but Dendi does that constantly, and smart trades like this are the difference between the top tier players. They understand when they can do it, and they also never trade like the Ancient player, wasting mana away. Since Dendi knows he has the upper hand and the high ground, he gets poison attack, and what he does here is force the Tinker to laser for a melee creep, meaning he can get the range creep with no problems while harassing the Tinker. Dendi never committed his first tango in the first 2 waves. He took 2 lasers just like the Ancient player, yet he has 616 HP while the Tinker has 70% of his HP. Let's not forget the gigantic difference in CS. If we go back to the Ancient player, he was already forced to get a salve and he's half HP when he gets his first courier delivery. He pretty much only gets a salve, whereas Dendi can finish a Wraithband and get mangoes to pressure the Tinker even more. A lot of mid players are super cheap and would rather not pressure further, but mangoes are almost always a must, especially now that Viper is very mana hungry. Another big mistake the Ancient player commits constantly is using Toxin to deal damage to the enemy mid. We saw that in the first wave, and also here. Since the hero only takes damage after 1 second being there, he pretty much wasted 80 mana to deal 45 damage to the Tinker. If he had Poison Attack for instance, one right click on the Tinker would deal about 130 when you combine the right click itself and the Poison Attack, whilst consuming 40 mana. You might say that Endotoxin zoned the Tinker for a bit, and while that's true, the Ancient player did not even get this deny, and the Tinker was able to go back after it ended and deny one of the Viper creeps. When Dendi used Endotoxin, you could see how well thought out it is. I'm pretty sure he even looked at the range to know he's dealing damage to all creeps while he zones Tinker out of denies and harasses on him. The Tinker gets a deny here, but only because he used Laser, meaning Tinker used 110 mana. He took damage while Dendi kept on farming. We can see the Endotoxin usage being a complete waste here. He uses it to deal very minor damage to the Tinker, while he cannot even keep the creeps there. He had 420 HP here, and because he had to tank the creeps to not last hit under tower, he already takes about 40 damage for no reason. And you might say this is minor, but it keeps on adding up, and you will see at the end the difference it makes. The Tinker decided to stack, but since it was super obvious and then he's constantly pushing the wave, he has the chance to farm this, but there's a big difference in how he farms his camp in comparison to the Ancient player. First of all, Dendi is farming a stack, so he's using 80 mana to acquire a lot of creeps, and he farms them in a way where they are constantly moving, but Dendi is dealing damage to them, taking very little damage. And when the center is the last creep and Endotoxin expires, he actually stops farming. He would have to take a lot of damage there or waste another Endotoxin to farm, which is definitely not ideal. The Ancient player decides to go there once, and not only he allows the centers to constantly attack him because he's super close, he takes a decent amount of damage while only clearing one camp. The way both players use their mana showcases clearly how being higher in memory and understanding trades and efficiency better will give you an edge every time. First of all, the Ancient player never brought mangoes to the lane and gets clarities instead. Clarities are fine if you're jungling, but the thing is, since he finished the Wraith Bands before boots, and since he has worse game sense than Dendi, when he pushes the wave here, he could have easily stacked the medium camp and his tower will take 0 damage. Instead, he wastes time since he's not doing a lot, and while he can farm the jungle later, he's committing 90 mana for one camp of centaurs. Dendi, on the other hand, understands that another Wraith Band does not change his farming speed nearly as much as Boots does. He grabs Boots, allowing him to get double damage, farm the centaur that he left while losing no lane creeps, and then he can get a stack in the medium camp. It gets even better. Dendi doesn't farm it straight up, he goes for another stack. And since he was constantly mid with mangoes, he was able to pressure the Tinker lane a lot, but thanks to the boots, he was also creating stacks to farm later. He also used that move speed to sap experience from the Tinker when he jungled, while pushing the wave first, meaning he was taking tower damage. The Ancient Viper did surpass the Tinker, but he was not able to pressure him because he lacked poison attack and aggro mechanics. He was also constantly denying creeps middle when the Tinker was stacking camps, when he could be stacking camps. Yeah, he got 7 gold here, 14 gold now, but he's not dealing extra tower damage, nor accelerating in farm, nor contesting Tinker's farm, and you will see how that bites him in the ass later. They do get a kill here, but only because Bounty rotated. Note that he loses another stack chance here, since he has no boots. And then he actually leaves middle to farm this camp for no reason. The catapult gives as much experience as this camp and there's no rush to farm it since it's a single stack. He keeps losing time denying creeps, and since he farmed that camp now, he cannot stack that camp and he has no place. And you can tell me, yo boy, shut the fuck up, he has 55 CS at 7 minutes, that's awesome. Indeed it is, but let's see how Dendi plays that. He farms the stack after the 30-second wave and also after level 7, and what that gives him, besides getting this War Deny, is using way less mana to farm a huge amount of camps. While the Ancient player committed 360 mana to farm 3 camps, Dendi commits 100. And way more important than that, he can get a double stack since he only goes for it after the 30-second wave. The mana efficiency here gets overshadowed by the fact that the Ancient player had a Crystal Maiden in his team with level 3 Arcane Aura very early, and Tinker did not cancel his clarities nearly as much as he could with Missile. At 8 minutes, Dendi has 71 CS and he's level 9, while Tinker has 43. The Ancient player has 57, and the Tinker 51, even though he even got a kill on him. It might seem small, but the fact that he lost time and had no purpose allowed the Tinker to accelerate with jungle stacks. Then he not only stacked for himself and farmed beautifully, he contested stacks, and even without Arcane Aura, farmed more because of better time usage. Guys, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I have a Patreon that you can check out if you want this channel to be more sustainable. But before we talk about anything else, I want to introduce Lizard's trip to Croatia for the minor. He's organizing a group to watch the games together, stay in the same hostel, and sightsee the city. To me, that would be an opportunity to network not only with him and other people that go, but to make content with players and talent that attends the event.
Hey guys, I'm Lizard for those of you that do not know me, and I'm a Dota 2 streamer, player, caster, analyst, whatever basket you wanna put me in basically. I'm here to invite you to a Dota 2 camp that I'm creating.
What?
Relax, Wagamama, it's not a training camp, it's nothing like that. It's better described as a vacation that's revolved around Dota 2 and the Dota Pit minor that's happening in Split. We organized and booked a private hostel only for us Dota 2 people, so that we have a place to chill and talk about Dota after the Dota Pit is over. You can talk about anything else, by the way, as well. Besides the hostel.
At the same time, that's very costly, so I wanted to know your opinion on whether I should go and network and make content, or whether you think staying home and casting and making videos would be better, since I started being featured more and more on Nib from UA. The poll is in the comment section. If you want to be a part of the series, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Twitch, join our Discord channel and Instagram to stay on top of everything. Thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate you guys. Bye.